Good day. This is Carolyn Holzman. I'm your host for Confessions of an SEO, and thanks for coming back. So today I'm going to probably create maybe a new type of segment. I think I'm going to call them rants. Yeah, I think I should call them SEO rants. All right. So just to give you a heads up, this is kind of what I think we're going to address. So first I'm going to talk about what is SEO testing? Why is there value in it? Why aren't more SEOs doing it? What can you do if you don't want to test yourself? And lastly, what's the big hairy deal in the SEO community about testing with fake keywords, or as they like to editorialize, gibberish? Well, let's get right down to it. Okay, well, first off, I kind of want to tell a story because without a framework, SEO testing doesn't sound like, it's hard to create kind of a peg to hang it on if you don't know what environment it was developed in. So I'm going to go back to the year 2015. I had an agency and I was working with a business partner, and we were looking at different conferences to attend, and I had this free ticket to go to a conference in California in the month of June. I had my ticket, and so I gave a ticket to my partner, and we, it was kind of fun, woohoo, great time, taken almost like, a weekend to talk only about SEO. It was like heaven on earth. So go to this conference, and I'm sitting next to this guy who's in I was in California, but he was from Arizona. And so we were talking about, things in general about SEO, because at the time, everybody would get together and talk about what they were seeing, what was working for them. It's kind of like coming together and comparing notes. Pretty primitive in a way, if you think about it. And we were talking about something, and he said, hey, I'm trying to come up with a way that I can really see what's happening in Google. So I leaned in and I was like, go on. He started talking about creating tests. I was like, well, how can you test in Google? Now, mind you, these are two SEOs talking. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? You're not alone, because this was not really discussed. I mean, people threw the word around saying, oh, I've tested this and this works. What that meant was they did something to their site, which may have had a whole history of other things being done to it. They saw something positive, and so they just assigned this value to what they did as, oh, this is what you need to do now. And if they were doing any kind of real testing, they were not talking about it. I had never heard anything about like this before. I was like, well, could you describe it to me? What does it look like when you say you're testing? What do you do? Now, mind you, this is, we're 6 years into testing, so this was before anything was really sort of codified in a way. And not that it's codified today, other than just keep asking questions. The situation was we were coming up with fake keywords. Now, what does that mean? So there are words, I'm sure if you searched at all in Google, and who amongst us hasn't, you will find that certain results say, we don't have anything for this. Now that's really out there, because you've really got to work hard sometimes to find a word that Google doesn't say, oh, did you mean this? Because it's always trying to guess to serve you, but it didn't really have that many results. So we were looking for words that if even if you just type with your fingers and type gibberish, you can occasionally find words that Google has never seen before. That's the key. In that case, once you find a word like that, and he used lorem ipsum and would create a page and say, okay, I'm going to take page A and page B, and they're both going to be identical, but I'm going to change one thing on the other page. Now, at the time, our understanding is increased over the years, but at the time, we didn't really think twice about two different domains, a page, one on page A on one domain, page B on another domain, and testing and seeing, and only running 2 pages. So we've actually, it's grown into a very sophisticated, more scientific approach, but the principles were the same. So one of the first things that we tested, because I may have mentioned it before, I was in a forum, and the question was, should we keep the title, the meta title, and the H1, should they be identical, like exact word for word in the same order, or should they be different? So it could be same words in a different order. It could be partial, a couple of words the same, a couple that are different. It didn't matter, but just the fact that they were different. Ran the test, and one of the pages, the title and the H1 were the same. Another page, the title and the H1 were different. And then you have to, at the time, it was a lot easier to get pages indexed. You could run a test and be pretty sure you saw results within a couple of days. I'm hooked now because, why do you think I'm at that conference? I'm at that conference because I understand I can't possibly be seeing everything. So by everyone coming together and comparing notes, we can kind of grow a larger body of information. And now I've met this person. By the way, his name is Kyle Roof, just a great guy, a brilliant SEO. And this idea of, pulling the scientific method into SEO. So like I say, here's the thing. I'm trying to explain what is SEO testing. So I'm explaining that now. And the next question is, why is there value in spending energy and effort to do this? Oh my God. If I have a question and I'm not sure, why would I ever go anywhere but Google first to try this out? Now, I might have to, run the test a couple of times. I might need to, run it with a certain setup. And then sometimes, you don't know until the end that maybe you didn't set something up perfectly, or maybe you botched it on, this other thing. But that's all okay, because the idea is, you're testing, right? That's the whole thing, is sometimes you find more ways to not do it correctly until you find the right one. So it's like, you're trying to invent the light bulb. You find lots of ways that aren't successful, but there are also many ways to do it. So the value now to me was, I didn't feel like I was flying blind. I had a methodology that obviously was, it's going to be improved, over time. Like right now, I would never run that test without having 5 test pages and 5 control pages. Just a larger data set, you can actually start to see a larger pattern. But all of these were determined over the last 6 years. And I'm sure we're going to be, doing a lot more testing on things that are deeper and deeper into how Google works. This got me to thinking, why aren't more SEOs doing this? And I think a large degree is because a lot of us, we're working really hard. We're working a lot of hours every day, most of the time in solitude, sometimes in an office, with a lot of pressure. But, for the most part, it's time is your most precious resource. I totally get it. That and even myself, I always saw testing as what I might do on the weekend or at night, once, quote, my work was done. And it does sort of drag on you too. It's already lonely work, and it's very easy. I think a lot of SEOs are workaholics and make a lot of trade-offs and don't necessarily take care of ourselves for our health, for our mental health, and in some ways, within our relationships. Word to the wise, right? Let's do better on that. But I'm just describing the challenge sometimes, is that you go ahead and you have these things you want to do, you got to get them done, and now you're going to go test. So you have to really love testing if you're going to do it that way, which I do. Okay, so I think that's partially why a lot of SEOs don't do it. I'll circle back around to that. So now if you are an SEO and you see the value in testing and you think you want to do it, what if you don't want to test yourself? What if you don't want to have to learn how to test? First off, I think you're crazy, because it is so empowering to know without a doubt you're not relying on somebody else, because it's hard sometimes to evaluate. Is someone telling you an answer to a question because they've tested it, or are they telling you an answer to a question which is really their opinion, but dressing it around this is definitely how it works, this is how it's always worked for me. Okay, so if you don't want to test yourself, then at least find a community where testing is being done. Now, I belong to one definitely and to another one partially, and I'm going to put together maybe a page of resources. I'll make sure you know when it's there, so if you're looking for it, you know where to find them and how to get involved. But now, if you're not going to do it yourself, and you're not going to be in a community of testers, then I kind of want to say you're really flying blind, and you'll be completely unaware of things that could help you, and be able to duck, when something's coming that could be avoided. And that's for yourself, for your clients. I think you really owe it to yourself and to the body of SEO. Now, I've been talking about it like, oh yes, everybody understands testing, they understand there's value in it. If they do it, if they could, if they can't, they're in a community. All right, but there is a portion of the SEO community that they think testing with fake keywords, and they don't even use the word fake. They actually editorialize it with the word gibberish. That there is no value to testing with gibberish keywords because Google doesn't know about those words. The whole principle about why the test works is what they say is why it's useless. Now, their basis for saying why it's useless, they haven't done it. They can't show anything that says it doesn't work. But they believe that the almighty Google is so powerful and so all-knowing, and the algorithm is so complex that there is literally nothing. If you can't understand all of the algorithm, you understand nothing. Partially, at first when I gathered this information, at first I thought, what? It's like they haven't even done it. But here's where the logic falls off the cliff. When you walk into your dark room, your office or your bedroom or the kitchen, you flick a switch. You flick a switch because because of the thousands of times you walked into that room, you flick that switch, the light comes on. You can pretty much bet your life on it, unless you live in Texas right now. It's cold. I don't have to be an electrician. I don't have to understand the nature of electrical power or the current flows or anything. All I have to know is that if I flick that switch, that light comes on. And if it doesn't, there's something wrong or something's changed. And that's what SEO testing does. It doesn't reveal the algorithm in its entirety. It doesn't have to. It's kind of like with your brain, you're coming up with little ways you can peck away at it. And the thing here is that, a lot of times the big joke is sometimes you don't die by a major wound, but you die by 1,000 cuts. So this is kind of under the 1,000 cut idea. And I'm not talking about search engines dying. I'm simply saying that we can increase our knowledge by cutting away a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and a little bit. And that's it for SEO testing. So thanks for letting me rant, and look forward to hearing back from you. If you have any thoughts or comments you'd like to make, please send it to confessions@americanwaymedia.com, and I'll be responding to you. All right, that's it for Confessions of an SEO, and I'll see you in the SERPs.